Here's a video that I've been promising on the Vaquita for quite a while if you've watched my series. With Christmas and a few other things, it's just got waylaid. So this is how to update your firmware using a PC and an SD card. Now it's quite funny, it's in two sections because I'd actually nearly produced the video, I'd shot the video, uploaded the firmware, done the battery test, and what do Paralenz do? They release another firmware edition. So I thought, right, let's film me and I'm going to use the word trying to upload that and then do another battery test and combine it all into one video. That's why you see two firmware updates in this video. So now I'm going to follow the instructions on the screen, and it says turn your camera on and once booted insert the SD card with firmware.plf on it. Okay, so I've got the SD card, the exact one recommended by Paralenz. So I'm going to use my SD card reader, put it in the computer and make sure that it's completely clear. There we go. Vaquita firmware, download Vaquita firmware. So we've got some files there. I'm just going to delete those. Yeah, so there we go. We've got a completely empty SD card, and then I'm going to copy that again into the SD card. So there it is, right? That's the only file in my SD card. So I've switched the camera on. Quite funnily, it hasn't fully charged again, and I left it on charge overnight. Since I did the battery test, I must admit the battery has seemed to be playing up. Here's the SD card. So we've put the firmware.plf on there. Turn your camera on. Once booted, insert the SD card. Goes in, and it's working. The camera will now download the file and update the camera. Paralenz logo will show on the screen. It says do not move the selector ring or activation switch at this stage. The camera will power off, which means the update has been done and your camera is ready to be used. That's really good. It looks like now we've got the latest software, so we'll just check the latest firmware. So we'll just check, we'll switch the camera on. I guess it must still be power off, which means the update has been done and your camera is ready to be used. So why doesn't it switch on? That's weird. Well, I've updated the firmware and the camera. I'm on the right setting on the ring. Yeah, Paralenz logo didn't show. It said updating, and the instructions say Paralenz will show on the screen. And the camera will power off, which means the update has been done. It did power off and the camera is ready to be used. But I can't switch it back on. All right, it's switched on now. It must have been doing something in the background. So now we can check which version is there. Does it tell me here which is the latest version? Yeah, newest version 2050-112-15. So let's have a look on the camera. So we've got to go to settings, which is that button there. We don't want to start Wi-Fi, so we just scroll through. And I know we've got to go to advanced settings, and we just hold the button in, scroll through until it comes to firmware. And yes, we have got the latest firmware. So now we can try the camera out, see if the freezing issue has been resolved. I mean, we've got a fix where we can hold this button in for a few seconds and it won't freeze. But it would be nice just to switch off the video and not have it freeze. So great, hopefully we might get the battery might have a bit more stability as well. So I'll be reporting on this in other videos to see if I can see any noticeable performance improvement. I will do another battery test now, just at 1080 resolution, to see if we get any better battery life, because it hasn't been great so far. There you can see. It was very easy to update the firmware with the PC and SD card. Really good. Just follow the instructions on the screen A little bit of a hiccup, it took a long time to reboot, but that's okay. And now we're doing a battery test, which you'll see now. Results not as good as I thought they would be, but anyway, that's what the results are. I've only done one test on 1080 60 FPS because that's what we use for our videos, and that's how I'll just use for the battery life tests going forward. We've got nice visibility in the dock today, and we've got fish. We don't have any fish food, but let's see if we get any nice footage. Could be good. So it's all set up as normal, the camera's switched on, and Peter here is going to rig it up as usual, and we'll take it out after 4 hours. The reason we use 4 hours, of course, is because Paralenz say you get 3.5 hours battery life, and so let's see if we actually get that today. I'm not hopeful. So there it is in the dock, and we'll take it out in 4 hours time and see how long the battery's lasted. And here's our producer, Wolf, oversees all our videos. He's experienced on boats. He has not dived yet, but would like to. Wolf, how's it going? There you go, his tail's wagging. Wolfie. Well, a slight improvement on battery life, but not really spectacular. Hopefully, with the firmware update that I'm going to show you in a minute, it's going to be much better. So this is the page you need to get to. You just go to the Paralenz.com website, go on to downloads, and you'll see there where you can click on instructions, and this will pop up. So this is what we're going to use and follow now. Okay, so you can see now we've got a new firmware version, which apparently gives us a charging symbol for the first 10 minutes, so we know the camera's actually charging, which I've been asking for before. I don't know what the improved firmware update UI means, but I do understand from one of the testers that the latest version should have much better battery life, and we will be testing that. So what I'm going to do now in this video is just take you through how to update the firmware using the PC. You can see it's called the manual firmware update. There's still a lot of issues with the app. I'm not even bothering using the app nowadays, and again, I've had it confirmed from someone who works at Paralenz that they're also not happy with the app. So I guess they're working to produce a new one as fast as they can. So until then, I'm going to update the firmware manually. So let's see what it says. Make sure your camera has at least 30% of charge. Yes, it's fully charged. The SD card should be clear of any footage. I've got it here. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's empty. Let's just check the logs as well. There's some logs there, so we'll delete both of those files. Yeah, so we've got a completely empty SD card. Okay, let's just say here, so we've got to download from the link above on this page under, so there we go. Let's just download that now. So be careful that you don't get confused between Dive Camera Plus and Vaquita. So we're going to download the latest version. You can see it down there. It's downloading very fast. Now, one thing to watch out for, if that becomes firmware brackets 1 or 2, it means you've got to remove the previous firmwares from your PC, because otherwise it won't transfer properly. And it's a bit annoying that they keep every update, they keep the same file name. I wish they would make each file easier to see. But anyway, so now we go to our downloads. There is, we just copy that, which we've done there. And we want the SD card again. So we just highlight that and then paste. So that's copied. Just check it's on there. Yeah, that's all we've got on the SD card. So we are now ready to put that into the camera. Let's just go back to the instructions. Okay, so yeah, there's the note. Yeah, it's got firmware 1. So even if you've downloaded a previous firmware version, when you download this one, you will get this on there. So make sure you've removed any previous firmwares from your computer. The best way to do that is immediately after the update, just delete the file. Right, so we've copied and pasted. Right, we've got to turn the camera on, and once booted, insert the SD card with the firmware PLF on it. So what I'm going to do now is just eject the SD card so we can use it. So we'll just connect that to the power, hold that on. Right, it's vibrated, it means it's going to come on. There you go. So as I say, yeah, we've switched it on, and it says once booted. It's telling me there's no SD card. So, and now it's booted. So we take the SD card. The camera will now download the file and update the camera. Paralenz will show on the screen. Do not move the selector ring or activation switch at this stage. The logo will disappear and the camera will restart on its own. So here we go, and you can see there what's happening at the moment. Nothing. Oh, that's a bit strange. I'll just hold the camera and look at it, and we'll see how long it takes to read it. Still not got the Paralenz logo. I'm not quite sure how long we should leave this for. Last time I did it, it went pretty well. But I don't want to play around with it. One thing I have noticed, it was fully charged a few days ago, and I'm down to 50% battery power again, which is annoying. It doesn't seem to hold the charge. Anyway, hopefully this firmware update will solve that problem. No, well, you saw it all there. Nothing's happening. So I'm unable to update the firmware. So I don't really know what to do now. What I will do, I'll remove the SD card again because there's nothing going on. And the last time I did this, it had already rebooted by now. So we'll take the SD card out, and I will turn the camera off, telling me goodbye, and we'll go again. Yep, camera's rebooting. There we go. I've got the logo. It'll probably come up no SD card now. Yeah, no SD card. We'll wait for it to fully boot. There it is. SD card back in. And once again, it's not doing anything. Very annoying. So I don't really know what to do. So what I am going to do, I'm just going to go over to settings and see which firmware version I do have in. So that's the firmware I've got, 2050 11215. So yeah, you've all seen me download the new version and it's not updated. Big disappointment. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to stop the recording. I'm just going to play with it and I'll tell you what happened and how I managed to update. I played around trying to update the firmware using the PC and SD card with the latest firmware, but it wasn't having it. And you saw early in the video when I did the previous update, it worked like a dream. So how did I solve the problem? Well, I had to go and use the app. And guess what? The app worked really well on updating the firmware. So that was the result. Bit disappointing. I had to waste all that time trying to update it via PC. I did it, as you saw, exactly the same way as I did it the first time when it worked, but it wasn't having it. But anyway, I got the firmware updated and ready for a battery test, which you're going to see right now. Okay, we're back at the dock. I've just, as you've seen, updated the firmware to the latest version. I was told by my contact at Paralenz that I should get over 3 hours at 180, 60 FPS or thereabouts. I think his testing may have been on 1080, 30 FPS. But anyway, we're looking for a substantial improvement. So it's the normal setup. We're ready to go. We've got plenty of light, so hopefully we'll find some fish. We've just got to turn the camera on. Yep, we are running. And the DCC is on. I can see it there in the screen. Okay, take it away, Peter. Okay, there we go. We'll leave that for 4 hours and then we'll see how long it recorded for. Well, that was a disappointment. I was expecting at least 3 hours based on information I'd received from one of the testers at Paralenz, but maybe he was testing the next version of firmware. But 1 hour 52, slight improvement, not fantastic, but hopefully they'll get there. What's really good is you now know when you plug your camera in to charge that it's taking a charge. That little icon only stays on the screen for about 10 minutes, but that's great because you know the charging system is working, you know it's receiving a charge. So from a very foggy Dubai, as you can see in the background, thanks for watching my latest Vaquita video. There are more to come, so please hit the subscribe button, please hit the like button if you've liked it. See you next time.